Hello everybody, welcome in. We'll give people time to go ahead and get in. I really hope that my internet works today. It's been kind of on the fritz here lately, so I'm hoping for a good stream today, but we will see. So far everything looks pretty good, but you guys will have to let me know. I hope everybody had a good Christmas and a happy New Year. Anyway, so we'll wait for a few people to get on here. What? I know. There's a delay. They're gonna know you're here. Hello, Tim. Hi, Wheat Tree Bonsai. Tim, it's just you and Wheat Tree right now. So far. But, hello, Imre. Did you guys have a good holiday season and New Year and everything like that? Good morning, Connie R. Thanks for stopping in. We're going to give it about 5 minutes, guys, and for everybody to kind of get in here. I have some exciting news for you guys, and I want to give everybody a chance to get in here before I announce that. So, anyway. Okay, so as always, I have kind of an opening picture for you guys that I took. There was a really beautiful frost the other morning, so that's one of the pictures that I took. I thought it turned out alright. But anyway, okay, so I'm going to turn it over here so you could actually see me for now as people show up. And I have a helper today, and he's very camera shy. Brian is off today, so you can see his shoulder just a little bit. He's not happy. Anyway, he's helping me, and I'll let you know why he's helping me today. So anyway, I'll give it till 11:05, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, Wheat Tree, for that. You know they can hear you singing to yourself, right? They already know you're here. They can see you. See? They can see that part of you. Anyway. I think he's threatening to quit right now if I don't quit it. Alright. Oh, that's why you're here, Tim? Because you have the day off. Yep. And I've got the kids too, but they are, for now, being quiet. So we'll see. They go back to work, or go back to school Wednesday. And all that good stuff. So I have the house to myself. Oh, I don't know what that is, Wheat Tree Bonsai. Crown Room link. Yeah, I don't know what that is. You'll have to explain that one to me. I'm not very tech savvy at all, so that's one of those things where I have to have somebody show me how to do stuff, and then I usually could get it after that. Hello, Mud Pie Girl 2. Thanks for stopping in. So, alright, one more minute, guys, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Did everybody have a good Christmas and New Year's? Hopefully, everybody had a good New Year's, at least, anyway. We did. We just stayed in, and we had some friends come over, and we played cards all night. And both kids actually made it to midnight this year. Caitlin last year was saying she was going to stay up, or the year before that, I guess, was going to stay up and wait till midnight, and she was out by 10. So, but they both stayed up, and they both got to watch the new year get rung in. So, hello, Autumn Girl Acres. Thanks for stopping in. I don't think I've seen you in the chats before. Have you ever been on a live stream before? Alright, guys, so it is 11:05, and we are going to go ahead and get started. Today, our topic is going to be taking care of pigs on your homestead. And if you guys have any questions, please put them in all caps for me. And this is a show affiliated with the Homestead Network, so please keep things family friendly so that all can enjoy. And okay, so a couple of things. We got a new puppy. She was one of those kind of things where we learned that she was available and we went and got her. Her name is Astrid, and she is a Chepenois. And I'm going to go ahead and show you her picture here real quick. Let's see here. There she is. There's Miss Astrid. She is a German Shepherd Belgian Malinois mix. And she has been a delight so far. She's very smart. She's already taking to her training very well. And doing really well with that. So we're still working on the potty training, but she's getting it. Ziva is here to kind of help her out with that. So anyway, there she is. She is definitely a cutie. Hello, Rain. Thanks for stopping in. All right, so there's Miss Astrid. Oh, hang on, guys. I'm gonna figure this out. All right, I'm still not very good at this, but anyway. Okay, so I reached my 2,000 subscribers, which, as promised, I went ahead and I did a video yesterday. I posted it on my Facebook, or on my channel, and outlining how or what you need to do in order to win the contest. And the winner of the contest, I will make them something. So the outline for that is on that video, and it's entitled Thank You. So go over and check that out and get your entry in. And today, and if you've already watched that video, then you know that if you are watching my live stream today and you participate in the live stream, you will get an extra entry into the contest. So if you are here and we see your name run through the chat box, we will go ahead and get you entered. You'll get an extra entry, and if you go over to that video, you can have another entry. So anyway, the contest ends January 31st, and I will have my kids, I'll write everybody's name on a piece of paper, and my kids will draw it out of a bucket or a hat or something, whatever we have. So if you guys are here, please raise your hand or give a thumbs up or something, so that way we know you get credit for being here, and we will go ahead and get your name written down for that. So, and I'll go back through if somebody didn't happen to be here whenever I announced this. I'll go back through the chats and make sure that we got everybody listed. So anyway, there you have it. That was my exciting news. I reached 2,000 subscribers. That was kind of fun. So pick me, kids. Okay. All right. Okay, so I'm going to be attending a couple of different conferences here coming up. One is the Mid-Missouri Grazing Conference, and I've got the flyer here so that you guys can look at that. Hang on, let me find it here. Okay. Oh, well, there's a picture of Astrid. I don't know why it's up there. Well, that didn't work out. Yeah, I know. Right, I put the wrong picture on there. Ha! Okay, let me see here. Where's that flyer? Oh, will you hand me that flyer right there? I'll just show it to him. Okay, so that didn't work out. I accidentally put a picture of Astrid on the one. Anyway, okay, here it is. Guys, let me get it in the center here. I'm going to be going to this conference, and it's open to whoever wants to come. It's in Jefferson City, so it's about 30-minute drive from where we live. Here's all the topics that they're going to be having. I really wish I would have got that right so that you could have seen it better, but anyway, there's the topics they're going to be covering. And anyway, so there's that. And then I'm also going to be going to the Soils, Crops, and Livestock Producers Conference. It's held here in our county. It's kind of a county thing, but I'm going to be going to that as well. And it's usually a pretty neat conference. They also, the same day they have, it's called a Future Producers Conference, and it goes on at the same time. So there's an adults and there's a kids section to it too. They're at different buildings, so you just drop your kids off at one building, they do their thing, and then you do yours at the adult one. So anyway, all right, so moving on. As promised, I have Grandma's oatmeal cookie recipe for you guys. There were several people that wanted that, and let's hope that I got it right this time. So otherwise that one's going to be really hard. Oh yeah, I got that one right. There's that, and I'm going to go ahead and just talk while you guys, if you want to write it down, you'll have a chance to write that down. Are there any questions so far as how the contest works or anything like that? While we're waiting on you guys, if you wanted to get that written down. This recipe, my grandma made this one that's been handed down for several generations. It's a pretty simple recipe. I know it's been changed a couple of times over the years. This is the version that I got. Pretty sure back then they didn't have vanilla, so they probably used something else. But anyway. Okay, so I have a couple of books that are on topic for you guys this week that I really enjoy, and the author is, I've heard him speak at several different conferences. He is truly a character, and I really enjoy listening to him speak. And he is an old farmer. He's been doing this a long, long time. He's written several books, but these two are on pigs. So I'm going to go ahead and this one here, hang on one second. This one called Dirt Hog. This one has to do with a lot with heritage breeds and how to work with heritage breeds and different ways that you can have them help you on your homestead and all that kind of stuff. So, hello Sharon Wilson, how are you? Thanks for stopping in. Alright, so, and this, it really breaks it down for you, and it helps you kind of decide which breed of hog is really going to work for you, and it outlines outlines kind of a system that you can use for a pasture-based system. So if you're wanting to do sort of a pasture-based system, this is a book that you're really going to enjoy. Okay, so the next one, he also wrote this book, and this one goes over every aspect of raising pigs. Whether you want to use the farrowing crates, or you want to have kind of a sterile environment, or if you want to just raise them like on dirt. It kind of goes over some of the commercial breeds and kind of talks on different points of keeping your pigs healthy, different things that vaccinations and things that can go wrong with your pigs. Both books talk about kind of the same thing, but this one kind of leans more towards the commercial production of it. I shouldn't say commercial production, but if you were wanting to use, say, a farrowing crate or something like that. So, anyway. All right. Switch back to me here for just a second. Okay, guys. So, there's my books and the recipe. If I didn't leave the recipe up long enough for you guys, you can always catch it on the playback as well. So, okay, so this week, the breed highlight, I'm going to highlight the Hereford Hog and just kind of touch on them just a little bit for you guys. They are a meat hog. They have really good marbling to their meat, and they are very great on pasture, or if you wanted to put them in a feeding system. They really do well either way. They're kind of a dual purpose. They've been bred to adapt to many different situations. So, anyway, they have excellent temperaments, which makes them great for 4-H kids. You don't really have to worry. I mean, it really depends on the animal, but normally they have really good temperaments. They're easygoing, easy to work with, and you don't really have to worry about the animal becoming aggressive. Not to say they won't, but usually their temperaments are pretty mellow, and getting them to do what you want may be challenging at times. So, they are an American breed. They were developed in the 1920s, and their official registry began in 1934. They were developed in Iowa and Nebraska, in those areas. They used the Duroc, the Cheshire White, the Poland China, and the Poland China to develop the breed. Let's see here. They were named the Hereford because they resemble the Hereford cattle. The markings on them are very similar. They have the white face, the white belly, and the white legs. The rest of the pig is predominantly red. And they do have rules on registration regarding the markings of the pig. I'm not going to get into that because if you're not breeding them, you really don't need to know the markings. And if you are breeding them, you already know what the requirements are. So, they mature very quickly. Let's see here. They are an early maturing breed. They reach market weight anywhere the 250 to 300 pound range, which is usually where you want your market pigs or your butcher pigs to be in about 5 to 6 months. So they are pretty quick growing hogs. The mature boars are going to weigh about 800 pounds and mature sows about 600. So they're fairly large hogs once they get pretty big. The mothers are excellent mothers, and they have large litters. And they are vigorous foragers. I know that we have the little Hereford cross pigs out here, and man, them little suckers, they are very vigorous when it comes to foraging and getting food, whatever they need. So, anyway, that is the Hereford pig kind of at a glance. Are there any questions so far for me that you guys have? Oh, okay, Dawn. Oh, well, maybe it's me. Hang on. Let's see if I can fix that. Dawn, is that better? I didn't realize that the microphone was turned down. Okay, so Imre is asking, how much are you going to charge for your pigs you're selling? And what platform am I going to be used for marketing them? Okay, so around here, butcher pigs, what I do is I keep track of how much I have in the feed for the pigs, and then I also charge just a flat fee for raising the pigs. The butcher pigs that we have out here right now that are going to be going to the market at the end of the month, $275 is going to make us a nice profit on those pigs. $275 each. And then the purchaser is responsible for the butchering cost. So they pay for the butchering themselves. And we deliver the pigs to the butcher, and after that, they take after that. They tell the butcher how they want the pig cut up, and they pay for the pigs. So that is how we do that. I just for marketing purposes, you know, I've had really good luck with posting on Facebook. There are several swap shops, several farm animal sites in this area. There's also Craigslist. I've sold several off of Craigslist. So there's several different options. You can also go to feed stores and post on. Most feed stores will have a bulletin board you can post on. Every feed store around here has a bulletin board that you can post on. So anyway, okay, so I have a few pictures that I took around the farm this week that I'm going to share with you guys. Okay, let me find them here. Okay, so my sewing machine broke, and my wonderful husband, he tore it apart, and he fixed it for me. He was my hero. I was in the middle of making a blanket for a Christmas gift, and he tore that sucker down and fixed it for me. As you can see, this is a Singer sewing machine, and he had that sucker tore down to bare bones. If you ever want to know what the inside of a sewing machine looks like, there you go. That's what it looks like. So, anyway, I have a picture of one of the little pigs for you. This is one of them. They're getting really big. They grew really fast. This is a little boy, I believe. But anyway, there he is. They are cute little boogers. We have people coming out tomorrow to look at one of the boars. They're wanting little boar pigs, so it's always nice that we have people come out. Wee tree bonsai. Right. Okay, so my husband is a mechanic, and he can pretty much fix anything, Wee tree. If something breaks, he can fix it. There's not been anything that he hasn't been able to fix yet. So anyway, gotta brag on him a little bit there, especially since he's sitting next to me here. But I just gotta look. He's very shy. He doesn't like it whenever I talk about him. Okay. So, if you're thinking about getting pigs on your homestead, there's several different breeds that you can look into. Heritage breeds are going to work the best for homesteads. Now, there's usually two different types, I guess you can say. But nowadays, like in World War II, originally pigs were bred for their fat, so that people could make lard, which is mainly what they used to cook with. Well, after World War II, it kind of shifted. Most people started using vegetable oil or different kinds of oils to cook with, and so the lard aspect fell out of it, and producers had to come up with a new way to market their pigs and not have as much fat. So they started breeding their hogs to be leaner and faster growing so that they could keep up with demand. So nowadays you don't really have a true lard hog, but there are some that still carry the characteristics of the lard hogs, and those are going to be, now this isn't all the pigs, but most of them, the ones I'm going to list, will have pretty good back fat for you and quite a bit of lard if you're going to butcher them. The large blacks, the Gloucester Old Spots, the Choctaws, the Guinea Hogs, or American Guinea Hogs, and the Mule Foots. Those are still considered to be lard hogs. Sorry, I got distracted. Now every hog's going to produce fat for lard, but these pigs are going to produce a little bit more than the ones that have been bred to produce meat and things like that. So some of your meat hogs are going to be more towards your Tamworths, your Yorkshires, your Durocs, your Berkshires, your Hampshires, your Poland Chinas, your Red Wattles, your Herefords. Those are going to be more of your meat hogs that are going to give you a nice loin. They're going to give you a nice pork chop. They're going to give you a nice big ham if you're into curing hams. Focus, JS. Yes, I need to focus, Sweet Tree. I get distracted. Let's see. I know, Mrs. Rain, right? We make a pretty good team, and I'm always constantly breaking things, and I'm like, honey, can you fix this for me? And he's always really good at making things. Like, if we have something that's like a challenge and I can't figure it out, he'll look at it in 5 minutes, have something, to fix the problem, or, he's so smart. It amazes me sometimes. Hello, mother of many horses. Welcome in. Thank you for stopping by. I'm glad you were able to stop by. Okay, guys. All right. Okay. All right, so I went over the different breeds of hogs. Now, can anybody tell me what a group of hogs is called? Does anybody know what a group of hogs is called? And if anybody can answer that, and the first one that answers that question will get an extra entry into my contest. So you get like a bonus entry. So if you can tell me what a group of hogs is called, then you get an extra entry. Wheat Tree Bonsai, I said if you can tell me what a group of hogs is called, you will get an extra entry into my contest. So while you guys are Googling that, first one, only the first person gets it. Tim, a good breed to start out with, you have to really look at your situations. Hoggies, no, Rain, that is not it. A drove, Connie R, yes, a drove is a group of hogs. Tim, to answer your question, it depends on what kind of, the flash over there, what kind of homestead you are and what your goals are for your homestead. So, hang on, let me write this down. So, Connie R times 2. Okay, so, it really depends on what your homestead, he threw me off my game, what your homesteading goals are, and if you want something that's going to be real gentle, something that's going to be a little easier, I would probably go with your Red Wattles or your Herefords. Those are really laid back hogs. They don't require hardly any maintenance at all. They don't really cause a lot of problems. The Gloucester Old Spots, we have a couple of those out there. They're pretty easy. They do get a little destructive, I've found. The grass is always greener on the other side of the fence, I guess you can say, and they do have a tendency to want to get out. But they're pretty laid back, and I've had no problems with them either. So those are, good starter pigs. Piggy Wiggies. Oh, yes, Piggy Wiggies. All right. Oh, sorry, my phone's going off. Tim, I hope that answered your question. Yes, Connie got it. Wheat Tree Bonsai. She got it. She was the first one to say drove. A drove is what a group of pigs is called. Bacon burgers. Bacon burgers are very, very good, Rain. I love bacon burgers. They're very good. So, and Connie R, if you go over and do everything you're supposed to on that other video, you're gonna be the one that has 3 entries into my contest. So, you have a horse that thinks she's a pig. Oh, that's fun. Oh, good, Connie. Awesome. Okay, so now a pig is a very simple being. Their whole goal in life is to search and find food. That's their whole goal. That's all they want to do in life. And if you keep them fed and watered, a pig is happy. They will cause you no problems. If a pig runs out of feed, a pig will find ways. They will get out. Now, some pigs are just ornery and they don't want to stay where they're supposed to stay. And those kind of pigs are they don't stay around here very long. But anyway, if a pig is fed and watered, they're happy. They're about the easiest animal to have on a homestead, aside from chickens. They're omnivores. They eat everything. So they will eat anything and everything you give them. They are not picky. Let's see here. You can use them to your advantage on your homestead. You can use a pig to turn a compost pile. You can use a pig to till a garden. Mother of many horses. I guess you're in a conversation with somebody else. Anyway, you can use them if you have food scraps from your kitchen. They will eat them. They eat anything. Most of our food scraps go to our pigs. Occasionally I'll throw them to our chickens, but the chickens are good foragers and they go everywhere, so they have the opportunity. Our pigs are not free range, so they don't have the opportunity to go and find the bugs and the worms and the pigs love to root and find things. I know Joel Salatin uses his pigs to turn his compost after he turns his cows out. He puts his pigs where the cows have been over the wintertime, and they turn that into compost that he puts on his fields and stuff. So, what foods do you need to feed them? Wheat Tree Bonsai, I'm going to get into that in just a few minutes. I'm going to talk about watering first. Now, the watering situation with pigs is pigs love to turn things over. They love to root. They love to make messes. Especially in the summertime when it's hot, if you have a water trough, that pig is going to be in that water trough. He's going to turn it over. He's going to want to make a wallow. And the watering situation can get kind of tricky. The way we water our pigs is we have a 50-gallon barrel, and at Tractor Supply or most feed stores, they're going to sell what are called pig nipple waterers. And what those are is they're just a little piece of metal with a little piece that what they do is when they put their mouth on it, it allows the water to come out. And it's just, you screw those into the barrel and you make them watertight, obviously. And they drink from them, just like a baby pig would drink from the mother. So That is the easiest way to keep clean, fresh water to your pigs at all times. And usually they cannot spill the 50-gallon barrel. We have ours secured well so that they can't do that. And if you have just a tub for them to drink out of, you are going to be constantly filling it up. And it is constantly going to be muddy and dirty. And it's just a big headache that you do not want, I guarantee it. That's the easiest way that I have found, and I've seen people take the what are those tubes called?
Oh, 5-inch PVC pipes.
5-inch PVC pipes, and use those as well, because you get really good pressure with those. And we used to use those as well. That's what we started out with, and then Brian came up with the 50-gallon barrel idea, and it is much easier. I don't have to fill it up as often. Yeah, you need to make sure it's food grade, and you want to make sure it's a blue barrel. That way the algae and things don't grow into it, and things like that. And having a lid really helps. Just because wild birds will sometimes try to drink out of it, and it's never fun trying to fish out a dead bird. So, Pigerator is a good operation. Oh, you've been to Joel Salatin's farm, Tim? That's really cool. I hope to go someday and see how he has his set up. I've watched a lot of the videos that they have on YouTube of how he runs his operation. I've read all of his books and things like that, so it's kind of a really neat operation that he has going on over there. Okay, so that is how I found it's easiest to water pigs. He's over here trying to make me laugh. Why are you doing that? Get over here so people can see your face. I think I'm talking to a ghost. He's being shy. He doesn't want to get on a live stream. And he's getting bored. So, anyway, the more you distract me, the longer this is going to take, honey. Anyway, so, watering. Now, when you go to feed your pigs, most of the time you can just get a commercial pig feed. A commercial pig feed from your feed store, your local feed store. Sometimes they will carry the organic feeds. We just have a special mix. You are being so noisy. He's making coffee. Anyway, our local feed store does a mix for us. It's just soybean meal and cracked corn. And then they get food scraps from our table, and different things like that. So there you go. You can see them in the background now. Nice try, honey. Anyway, so anyway, you made me forget. Okay, so pigs, they can pretty much live on anything. Like I said, they're omnivores. I know a lot of people just feed their pigs food scraps. It's not the healthiest way to do it, but you know, as long as you give them a good balanced diet, they will eat hay. Pigs will eat anything. Um, you know, it's one of those things where if you get a commercial pig feed, it has everything in it that you want. But if you want to go the organic route, they are now making several good organic pig feeds. They are expensive. This past year, with my broilers, I actually did do the organic feed, and it really wasn't all that much more expensive. I know the pig feeds are a little bit more expensive, and pigs do go through quite a bit. Now our sows, they do not eat much. 5 pounds of food a day is enough, and a 50-pound sack will last them quite a while. So that's a maintenance ration. That's something that you just give them as a maintenance ration. And we'll get into, if you want to breed your pigs, how much you need to give them here in a little bit. But usually about 5 pounds of food a day. Weetree, I hope that answered your question as far as the feed. It's really up to the individual person, and pigs are so easy. They'll eat anything, and they can stay pretty healthy on next to nothing. So, anyway, if you're feeding them out, you do want to have just free choice. That's the fastest way to feed out a pig. We have just a flip lid feeder, and I dump a 50-pound sack in there whenever it gets low. And they have free choice feed at all times, and you will have a pig grow faster that way if you're wanting to feed them out, and if you're on a budget, that's the easiest way to do it. Hogs do not waste feed. They will eat all of it. Now, what kind of food would I never give them? You know, uh, you probably want to stay away from like raw meats and things because they can pick up pathogens, but pigs will eat anything. And if I have not found a single food that a pig will not consume. So you want to probably stay away from any raw meats or anything like that. Um, let's see here. Okay, so in the summertime, your pigs are going to need a cool place to stay, whether you have a wallow for them or you have a shaded area that they can stay in. Pigs do not sweat. They cannot sweat. They do not have pores. So they will need a place to stay cool, preferably a place where there can be a nice breeze in the shade, or a wallow where they can get in and they can take a mud bath. They do use mud as their sunscreen because they will sunburn, especially the white pigs. They will sunburn. Um, I would not give them bones at all either, wheat tree bonsai. It's kind of, especially the hollow bones with the chickens. Any animal that has the hollow bones, like the chickens, they splinter, and it can kill them just like any other animal. So I would not recommend giving them bones either. Um, Mother of many horses there is a pet pig at the farm. How much should it be fed a day? I think it's a bacon breed. Just 5 pounds a day on any ration. Now, my rationing, our pig feed is 16% protein. If it's an 18% protein feed, you want to give them just a little bit less. 5 pounds, it's okay. So most scoops, um, the typical scoops of that they sell at the stores, those are going to be about all they're going to need. They get two scoops of that, and that's all they need for the day. So as long as the pig is maintaining its weight, and not, you don't want it to be gaining weight. You just want it to maintain that optimal condition. And usually pigs will, if they're not getting what they need from you, they will find it on their own, especially if they're free range. Now, when you have a sow that's lactating, she's going to have she's going to need a bunch more feed. And regardless of how much you feed her, she's going to put all of that into raising those little pigs. So keeping weight on a lactating sow is very difficult. So it's kind of a good thing that pigs can be weaned so early. Anyway, okay, so I covered that. A wallow is a very good idea because they do sunburn. So you want to go ahead and make sure that, hello Nelson Homestead. I don't think I've got you written down yet. I do not. Let me go ahead and write you down before I forget. Hello, the Nelson Homestead. And I will go back through here, guys, and check to make sure. Oh, I'm buffering. Not cool. I will go through and check to make sure I got everybody for their extra entry on stopping by. Yeah, if she goes behind and cleans up after the horses, mother of many horses, then she should be getting plenty of feed. That may actually be plenty if she's cleaning up after the horses. If you notice her getting too fat, just kind of downgrade how much you give her and clean up after the horses. Will probably be enough for her. So, and pigs are very clean animals. I know the whole mud thing, but they do use that for a purpose. They usually, typically, pigs will have a corner in their pen, and it will typically be farthest away from their hut, where they're going to use the bathroom. Usually they do not spread their manure everywhere. They usually have a place that is designated for bathroom duties. So, anyway, let's see. Controlling pigs. There are a few ways that you can control a pig. You can stick train them, which is people use it a lot when they're showing pigs. It's called driving them, and what it is you just have any kind of stick. In the show rings, it's just a little pig whip, and you control them by tapping them on each side and walking behind them. That's how you control how their head moves, and where their head is pointed is where they are going to be walking. So, anyway, you can use that. You can train them. They're very easily trained. They're very smart. So, you can also, our pigs are trained to follow a bucket. So anywhere we need to go to take them, they'll follow a bucket. Like I said, the pig's main objective is to find and eat food. So they're very food-oriented critters. There's also a thing called a pig board. If you have two pigs getting into a fight, you can take this board and set in between them, and that's how you can easily break them up. It's just usually a board that has handle holes along the top, and you can make it out of anything. Usually they're made out of plastic nowadays. So that's what they used to use now when they showed pigs, but now they use the pig whips. It's a little bit easier. There's also a snare if you have a pig that is just nasty and just a bad pig, and you need it to go somewhere. There's also a pig snare. Those are not comfortable for a pig. It's basically like what animal control uses. It's a pole with that you can tighten the wire with, and you put it over their snout. Usually you have to make sure that their mouth is open, and you put it over their snout, and you can drag them anywhere. You can make them behave that way, but I tend to not lean towards doing that. Anyway, so let's see. Now, fencing for pigs. There's an old saying that your fences need to be horse high, hog tight, and bull strong. And there's a reason they say hog tight, because a hog can, if they can fit their snout under it or in it, they can go through it. Pigs are incredibly strong. And typically, a pig that's not happy where it's living, they're going to find a way to get out. Now, the best fencing that I have found for pigs is electric fencing. Because the first thing that pig's going to touch that fence with is their nose. And that's the most sensitive part on a pig, is their nose. So once you have them trained to a fence, now when a hog touches an electric fence, their first instinct is to run forward. They're not like most animals where they're just going to run back up. They're going to run forward, causing them to get out. So once you have them electric fence trained, they're going to see that wire, not even going to go anywhere near it. It's just a mental barrier. It's not a physical barrier. It's a mental barrier. And that's what we use for our cattle. Is all of our fences are electric fences. And it's just a mental barrier for those animals. Now, if you want to go ahead and train them for the electric fencing, you can, if you have your pen, you set up your electric fence to run about halfway through. You set their water on one side and their feed on the other. The pigs will learn that they have to walk around that fencing if they want to get it, not through it. Once they learn that that is an ouchie and they're not going to touch it anymore. Once they're trained to electric fence, you can put a pig anywhere. They will not go through that electric fence. I have not found a pig yet that will mess with electric fencing after they've been shocked and trained not to touch it. That's at our last house where we used to live. That was our pig fencing, was electric fence, and they never got out. And to load them into the trailer was challenging. We had to roll the trailer up over the electric fencing and have it set inside the pen because they wouldn't go through that area where they knew that they couldn't go through it. They knew that there was a fence there. So we ended up having to do that and feed them in there for a few days in order to get that to happen. Anyway, and that is how we load our pigs if we're going to be taking them to the butcher or taking them, or they're being sold or whatever. We will feed them inside the trailer for a few days, and that way, whenever it's time to load the pigs, we feed them, shut the door, let the pigs out that we don't want in there, and then you have a caught pig. It's very low stress. The pigs typically don't even know that you've caught them. And that's just how we catch pigs around here. Because if a pig does not want to go somewhere, it's not going to go. Pigs are very stubborn animals. You will have to physically force them to do something if they do not want to do it. I don't know. Okay, sorry. I'm getting distracted. You guys are having a conversation and I don't know what it is. Okay, all right, so are there any questions so far? Hopefully I haven't missed any from you guys. But, so if you're going to be having pigs, there's a few terms that you probably you're going to be hearing from people, and if you don't know these already, or if you already know these already, I do apologize, but if you don't know them, then it's probably a good thing to know some of the terms that people are going to be talking about if you're going to be getting into pigs. A boar is a male hog, an adult male hog. A stag is a castrated male hog that has been used for breeding at least one time. So they bred him and then they castrated him. And usually people will do that if they just wanted to use him as a breeding pig and then eat him. There's a thing called boar taint, and you can't eat a boar hog. If you do, typically boar hogs are made into pepperoni because they have such a really strong flavor. It's kind of like eating a billy goat. They have a really interesting flavor. Okay, so and then after you castrate the male hog, you have to give them a certain amount of time, and then they just be like eating regular hogs. So a barrow is a castrated male hog that has not been used for breeding. So typically the extra males, they're castrated when they're young, and they're called a barrow. A sow is a female hog that has had a litter of piglets. So she's already had a litter. A gilt is a female hog that has not had a litter of piglets. A piglet is a baby pig. A runt is typically there's usually a runt in every litter. Typically it will not survive. They are much smaller than their litter mates, and there's usually something wrong with them. And then there's also what's called a mummy, and that is a pig that is stillborn or not fully developed, and they are born dead. Now, a weanling is a piglet that has been removed from the sow. They no longer are able to nurse from the sow, so they are considered a weanling. Now, there's a few terms that you can use when you have a pig that you are feeding to consume. There is feeder pig, market hog, finish hog, or grower hog. Those are all terms used for hogs that are going to be used for consumption. Ones that have an end game, you know where they're going to end up. They're not going to be for any breeding stock at all. You're just going to be consuming them. Oh my goodness. Okay, so, and after that, another term term for a feeder pig is going to be a shote. And that is a pig that has not reached 120 pounds yet. They typically don't use this word anymore, but it's an old word that my grandpa uses it all the time, and I finally had to ask him, what does that mean? So a shote is a pig that has not reached 120 pounds yet. So they're kind of in between the weanling and the finished pig stage. So, okay, so to farrow means to have little piglets. Farrowing is when a sow goes and makes her nest and has her little pigs. A litter is what a group of baby pigs is called. That's called a litter. Overlaying is when a sow lays on her pigs, usually on accident, and she crushes them and they die. So overlaying will typically happen if you have too much bedding and the pigs are up underneath the bedding and she comes in. A good sow will come in and oink at her little pigs, and that'll cause them to come up out of the bedding. It's kind of funny because they pop up like little popcorn, and they usually will come up out of the bedding, and then she'll go in, she'll get on her knees, she'll slide forward a little bit, and then she'll flop over. An inexperienced sow will just go in, flop over, and sometimes then that's what's called overlaying with pigs. Now, little pigs are born with what are called needle teeth, and sometimes they are called wolf teeth or canine teeth. They are teeth that are on top and bottom, and they are sharp, sharp, sharp. Typically, you don't have to do anything about these. Some producers still just clip them out when they're newborns or once they've erupted. They can tear up the sow's udder with these teeth. They used to just remove them regardless. Nowadays, as long as the little pigs are not tearing up her udder with them, people leave them in. Now they do grow. They can become tusks and ugly, and so people will remove them if they are going to keep them for breeding stock or things like that. So anyway, a standing heat is when a sow is ready to breed. Now, typically when you are going to breed a sow, you know when she's in heat. If you touch her, especially on her rump area, she freezes. She will not move. And this is a characteristic that they have so that way the boar can get his job done, and she'll just stand there. She will not move, and it allows the boar to get done what he needs to get done, and there's not a lot of injury going on. So if you touch the sow and she just freezes, that's one way you can tell. Also, her vulva is going to be swollen, and I don't know how to put this where it's not where it's kind of kid friendly. The vulva will, it's almost like it's winking at you. It'll open and shut and open and shut, and it will be pink and swollen. And so anyway, oh yes. Anyway, so that is kind of a way that you can tell your pigs are in heat. Some people do use a boar to tell. They'll run a boar outside the pen, and the females will be very interested, and they'll do their little freezy thing and everything like that. So if you're going to be keeping breeding stock, if you're going to be breeding to keep breeding stock, there are a few things that you want to look for. Now, with the many varieties of pigs, there's going to be different. Every breed is going to have its own body type that it's going to be looking for. And so the individual breed, you're going to have to research what body type they're looking for. You're not going to want to compare an American guinea hog to a Tamworth. They're just not the same hog. A guinea hog is going to be more towards your lard hog, and your other ones are going to be, they're going to be more towards your meat hog. They're bigger. There's just no comparison, but there are a few things that you still want to look for whenever you're looking for a breeding animal, and that is you want to look at their structure. They want to have a really nice structure, bone structure, and I hope that I got this here for you. Hang on, I had Okay, I didn't have it on there, but I forgot to put it on there. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so you want to look at their legs. There's a few things that you wanna look for. Um, you don't want a pig to be knock-kneed, which is where when they're standing there, their knees buckle forward. You also do not want them to be post-legged, which means their legs are extremely straight and their legs don't bend when they walk. Typically, this is, you'll see a lot of post-leggedness with breeds, some of the exotic breeds that have been brought in, and pigs that are, more show-type pigs. But you want to make sure that they have a good foot on them. You want to make sure that their legs are straight. They're not cow-hocked, which means when you look at their hocks, you want their hocks to be going straight forward. You don't want them to bend in or bend out. I don't know how. I wish I would have put that on there. I'm sorry, guys. You want their legs to be looking from behind the hog. You want a nice parallel line. You don't want to see their hocks turning one way or the other. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I really wish I would have done that. I'm sorry, guys. All right, so you want to make sure that they have their good legs. You want to make sure that their bone structure is correct. Now, their bone structure, as far as different breeds, it is going to be a little bit different. But you want to, on gilts, you want to make sure that they have a nice big body cavity, because they're going to want to, you're going to want to make sure that they have a nice size to where that they can carry those pigs to term and have a really good, easy way, so that their litters can be good sized, and they have every advantage possible for when they go to farrow. So on, let's see here, hang on, I'm kind of going out of order. Okay, good body cavity breeding. Okay. All right. So another thing on pigs that you're going to want to look for is the teat placement. You want to make sure that they have a nice evenly spaced teats. Typically, a sow is going to have 7 on each side. And you don't want a lot of the teats to be really far in the back of the sow. You want them to kind of be more towards in front of that flank area, because when you look, or when a sow's going to lay down, those teats will be covered by the flank, and then the little pigs can't get to them. So you want to make sure that our teats are kind of more towards the front, more towards in front of the flank area. And then you want to watch out for blind teats, which are teats that will not produce any milk. And then typically you want sows to have, you want their teats to be kind of on the longer, slender side. You don't want short, stubby, chunky little teats, because when that sow ages, her mammary glands will stay larger and her teats will be stretched, and you want to make sure that once that sow gets older, the little pigs can still latch on and nurse from those teats adequately. Now, I'm sure most people have heard the term, this person or that person is useless as teats on a boar hog. Well, that term, I don't know why they say that term, because the teats are actually important on a boar hog. That is, the boar hog carries the traits for teat placement. So if the boar has really good teat placement, you want him to have, again, the 7 on each side. That's typically, they don't have to have the 7 on each side. If they have one extra on the other, it's not going to matter all that much. Unless you're showing them, then it will kind of matter. But different breeds will have different amounts of teats also. But typically, the larger breeds are going to need that. So Nelson Homestead, your pap said that all the time. My grandpa said it all the time too, but he used a different word. I can't use that word here, so I just say teats. Um, it is important to pay attention to that if you are going to be keeping a boar or if you're looking for a boar. That trait, good teats, is passed on to through the sire line of the breeding. So you want to pay attention to that. And as we all know, if the sow can't produce enough milk, if her teats aren't functioning properly, if the little pigs can't latch on, you're not going to have little pigs. You're not going to be successful in the breeding process. So they're very important as far as how many, how good they are. A boar, you're still going to want to look for those traits. You are going to want to make sure that he is adequately growing. You don't want him to get too fat. If you use a boar that is too big for the sow that you have, you will have fertility issues. Now, we did have that problem when we had, let's see, what was his name? Ricky, the boar. He was he was a 700-pound boar. And our sows, or at the time they were gilts, they were about 500 pounds. So he was, kind of on the cusp of being too big for them. That's why the first time that Lucy had her babies, or her piglets, she only had 4. So she should have had what she had this last time, which was 8. She only had 4. So you run into fertility issues. You want to make sure that your sow and your boar are about the same size if you're going to be breeding them. So, and you want to make sure that your boar is structurally correct, that his teat placement is good, and different things like that. So, all right. So if you're going to be breeding, and you don't want to keep a boar, you can borrow one, which is what we do. We just borrow, and then you can AI. It's simple. You just go online. You order the straws of semen that you need. Typically, you're going to need a gun. There's a little gun that you use that you can just squirt. But or I think I haven't AI'd a pig, but there's it's really simple to do. Um, and you'll just sit on the sow because she'll freeze up for you, and then you just insert, and there you go. Pretty simple. AIing pigs is about the simplest you're gonna find as far as AIing any animal. Cattle, there's a whole reach in with one hand, and it's a little bit more complicated with cattle. Or you can just keep a boar. With just having the 2 sows that we have, there's no point in keeping a boar. So we just borrow. Let's see here. All right. So also, I have one more thing. Um, the way you farrow is totally up to you. However you wish to farrow your pigs. Based on the breed, sows can have anywhere from 6 to 12 piglets. I know that Alderman Farms, they were talking about it the other day. Their typical, a big litter for the American Guinea Hogs is 6 piglets. Whereas if you're dealing with a Hereford or even a Tamworth or a Red Wattle, they're going to have very large litters. 8 to 12 typically is what they're going to have. So anyway, their gestation is 114 days, which is the rule of 3. I don't know if you've heard this before, but 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. That's how long a sow is going to be pregnant. So from the date of conception, you can count 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. 114 days. Let's see here. Okay, so farrowing. There's many options. I'm just going to talk about a few. You can use a farrowing crate. You can make sure you can have your pigs on concrete. You can have your pigs on. You can have it to where have a barn. You have a pen and there's a concrete floor. You can have it to where you have your barn, your pen, and you have a dirt floor. You can have a farrowing hut just out in a pasture somewhere and have that on dirt. We use a farrowing hut that we made ourselves and just put bedding in there. allow the sow to naturally make a nest. That is something that a sow will do. She will naturally make a nest for her little pigs to keep them warm. This last litter that we had, Pharaoh, she had, let's see, it was pretty cool. What was the temperature when she had those little pigs?
Probably 40.
About 40 degrees, and we had no supplemental lighting, nothing. She had her pigs. The only pig we lost was the runt, and there was something wrong with that little pig. There was never anything quite right with him, but she never lost a little pig. She made an excellent nest, and she kept her little pigs warm. So you can do that successfully. We typically try to stay away from farrowing in December, January, or February. Those are your coldest months. If you do farrow around that time, you'll probably want to make sure that you have a heat source for the little pigs to get to. How long is a pig's gestation period, Tim? It is 114 days from the date of conception. 3 months, 3 weeks, 3 days. The rule of 3. That's an easy way to remember it. Let's see here. Are there any questions? I really haven't. If you guys have a question and I missed it, please repost it. I have not been paying attention. Southwind Technical Academy. I have been live since 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I am overtime right now, but I still have a few things to talk about. 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time is when my slot for the Homestead Network is. Okay. Alrighty. Farrowing. Okay, so if you are going to farrow on concrete or in a farrowing crate, you're going to want to make sure that you give your pigs, your little piglets, an iron shot. They can pick up the iron. If they're born on dirt, you typically don't have to because there's enough iron in the dirt that they can access that. Will you stop, please? The clicking is annoying me. I'm almost done. I know you're getting bored.
No, I'm deleting stuff.
Oh, you're deleting stuff. Okay, he's messing with the TV. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys, and I know I have a picture of these on here, our farrowing huts that we built. We built these out of all scraps and pallets and anything. We did not spend a dime on these. Actually, that's not true. We bought the screws that we put it together with. That's the only expense that we had in this farrowing hut. And you want to make sure that they face either the south or the east. These face southeast so that the north wind cannot penetrate them, and it keeps them out of that old cold north wind. And we typically get winds from the north and the west. So this is the farrowing hut. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the inside. As you can see, the walls are just pallets, and we just use a bunch of old scrap lumber to make this with, and then there was a lot more bedding in there. This is still pretty deep bedding. They've just broken it down from being in there so much, but we keep the deep bedding in there and allow them to make a nest. She had a really, really nice nest for her little piggies last time. So anyway, there you go. Anything that keeps them out of the wind and keeps them sheltered from the elements, they're gonna be happy. So, and if you have a good sow, you can farrow any time of the year. You typically don't want to take a gilt that is going to be first time farrowing and make her pig in January. She just doesn't have the experience to do that. An experienced sow, you can probably go ahead and let her do that if she usually is really good about building a good nest and keeping her little pigs warm. If you don't want to use supplemental lighting. So anyway, alright. Okay, so I was just checking to see if there was any other questions. Typically, what we do is we separate our sows a week before she is supposed to farrow. This farrowing hut has a pin around it, and we separate that so she gets used to it and is ready to go. There's plenty of room in the hut with plenty of nesting material for her to use. And if you have a good sow, like I said, she will build a nest for her little pigs. Now, like I said, a sow that is a good sow, she's gonna, when she comes back to her little pigs, she's gonna grunt. She's gonna let them know she's coming. She's gonna get down on her front knees, slide forward, and then lay over. This is typically how you a sow that just comes in and flops over is not a good sow. You're going to want to have some kind of protection for those little pigs so that she cannot do that. And if you have a sow that's like that and you don't mind her being like that, you're going to want to use a farrowing crate or a farrowing hut that is very restrictive on how she can lay down. Like I said, okay, I'm just reading off my list. Like I said, we don't use any lights or warming lights for our sows. Um, Now, you want to just keep their rations about the same as their maintenance rations up until about the last couple days they farrow. You can give them a little bit more feed. Typically, they won't eat it though. Now, after they farrow, you want to make sure that they have free choice of feed that they can eat whenever they want. The sow, like I said, maintaining a sow's weight is a little difficult because she is putting anything she eats, she's putting into those little pigs. So your sow typically is going to be nursed down quite a bit. And luckily with little pigs, they grow fast and you can wean them pretty darn quick. So, all right, so I think that's all I had for you guys today. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover as far as that. If you guys have any questions, please feel free. Seriously? Okay, now he's messing with me. He has a Nerf gun that he shot. Anyway, okay, so like I said, this show is affiliated with the Homestead Network. Please go to thehomesteadnetwork.com. Check out show times. There are 3 great shows this evening that you guys need to go check out. There is, oh goodness, I don't think I wrote it down yet. Hang on. I know I've got it written down here. Freedom Acres is going to be your first show. And I want to make sure I get the time right here. From 8 to 9 o'clock, there's going to be Freedom Acres. From 9 to 10 o'clock, you're going to want to check out Big Bear Homestead. Robin will be giving her essential oils class tonight. And our newest member is going to be Urban Girl Maria. She has a show that she is doing, and she is doing an excellent job, I do have to say. She is a person that is just learning about homesteading, and she takes you through kind of what it's been like for her learning how to homestead. So, all right, any more last minute questions? Wheat tree bonsai, are you talking about when she's pregnant or after she has farrowed? After she farrows, you want to give her free choice of feed so she can eat whenever she needs. And then when you wean the little pigs, it's back to the 5 pounds a day. That's typically what we do. Freaky Geek 2, you can farrow a pig anytime. It just depends on how much work you want to put into it. If you're going to farrow during the wintertime, you typically want to have some kind of heating source, but you have to be very careful with the heating source because when a sow is building her nest, she can make that nest quite high, and if that material gets into that heat lamp, you're going to catch it on fire, and that's not anything you want to have going on. I had a family member, he was warned by my grandpa about the heat lamps that he had, and that the sows would push all that straw up under those heat lamps, and his barn burned down. He lost all of his sows, all of his piglets. it was a tragedy. It was bad. He didn't have any pigs left, and he lost his barn as well. So you want to be very careful using any kind of heat source with the pigs. So let's see here. All right, any more questions? And I like to pig in the spring and in the fall. I like to farrow in the spring and fall. Usually 2 litters a year for the sows. That keeps them in good health and doesn't run them down. You could probably farrow a pig. You can farrow them 3 times, but I just do 2. You guys. All right, Caitlin. Okay, so Caitlin wanted to come say hi, you guys. Caitlin, you want to come say hi?
Hi.
There's Miss Caitlin. Everybody's ready to go. They're waiting on me right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, Cassidy, did you want to come say hi?
Okay.
No thanks.
Up you go.
Up I go. Well, I'm being booted off. If there are no more questions, I will see you guys next Monday. And Caitlin, We Tree Bonsai says hi.
Huh? Who?
Urban Girl Maria. Hello. Oh, I'm glad you made it. You snuck in under the wire. Look at that. Or have you been here for a while? I just may not have seen that. I will write you down. You made it. And I am going to go through here and make sure that I have everybody written down, guys. So if you were here, then you get a second entry, and Miss Connie R gets an extra entry because she knew what a group of pigs was called. And that is a drove. So, okay. All right, guys. I'm going to see you guys later before I have a mutinous family. And you guys have a good day.
Wait, what's that?
That was his hand waving. Bye. Bye, guys.